Hello and welcome to Business 101. My name is Mr. Fussell, and today let's get on with our new topic, business ownership. There are a number of options for the ownership of a business. Each ownership type has its own advantages and disadvantages, and a business should choose the one that best suits its needs. So first, let's go over what a sole trader is. A sole trader is a business that is owned and run by one person. There is only one owner, but they may have employees who work for them. Sole traders are usually startups or small businesses. For example, photographers, electricians, hairdressers, graphic designers, social media influencers, bloggers, small online clothing brand owners, and beauty therapists may set up as sole traders. Sole traders have unlimited liability, and the owner is personally responsible for the debts of the business. A sole trader pays income tax on their earnings. So, what are the advantages of becoming a sole trader? It is quick and easy to set up as a sole trader. The business owner has a lot of control over the business and its money. It gives individuals the opportunity to be their own boss and make all the business decisions, and it has low set-up costs. Now, what are some of the disadvantages of a sole trader? It has the risk of unlimited liability. It can involve long work hours and stressful conditions. There is a high level of responsibility for the owner, and often the owner performs many different roles in the business. Our next business type is partnerships. A partnership is a type of business that has between 2 and 20 owners. They decide to set up and run a business between them. Partnerships are often found in businesses that provide a professional service, such as lawyers, doctors, and accountancy practices. They can sometimes be identified by the name of the business. For example, Kowalski and Davies Accountancy would probably be an accountancy business with two partners with the surnames Kowalski and Davies. In a partnership, the owners agree to a set of rules. These are outlined in a document called a deed of partnership. As an example, this document may specify how profits are allocated, what percentage of the business each person owns, their roles, their responsibilities, and the percentage of any business debts that each person would have to pay. The owners in a partnership the owners in a partnership pay income tax on their earnings. Right, so what are the advantages of a partnership? A partnership is quick and easy to set up. There is shared decision making between the owners. There is a shared responsibility for debt by the owners. Partners bring more skills and more ideas because it's not just down to one person. And there is more capital available to invest because each separate person will have their own savings and it's not coming out of just one person's saving to support the business. So what are the disadvantages of a partnership? Well, one, it can involve long work hours. Profits have to be shared between the partners. Conflict amongst owners can occur. There is also the risk of unlimited liability again, such as like the sole traders. And one partner may let the others down by not upholding their responsibilities in the business. Okay, moving on to our next business type. Private limited companies, otherwise known as LTDs. A private limited company can be a small or large business. A private limited company has limited liability, and often these types of business have LTD after the business name. An example of this would be Green Construction Ltd. Any type of business can set up as a private limited company, for example, a plumber, hairdresser, photographer, lawyer, dentist, accountant, or driving instructor. The owners of a private limited company are known as shareholders. Shareholders have to be invited by the business before they can purchase a share of the business. A share is a portion or percentage of ownership of a company. Private limited companies pay corporation tax. Corporation tax is a tax on the profits of a business. One of the main downsides of founding a private limited company is that there is more paperwork to do, because the business has to register with Companies House and file annual financial reports. So, what are the advantages of a LTD? Well, the owners have limited liability rather than unlimited, like the previous two business types we've discussed. It gives individuals the opportunity to be their own boss. Any new shareholders need to be invited, which protects the business from outside influence, or should I say unwanted outside influence. Shares in the business can be sold to raise money. So that's when you sell a small percentage of your company as a share to raise capital for the business in the short term. So the disadvantages now. The disadvantages of an LTD are there is often more paperwork to do. In some instances, other people are able to view the business's financial information. It can be very time-consuming to set up. The business may require outside professional help to manage its finances. And shareholders will expect to receive a percentage of the profits as dividends. So those will be the shareholders who have paid for shares of the company. Now, moving on to our next type. Public limited companies, otherwise known as PLCs. As a business grows, it may choose to become a public limited company, PLC. In a PLC, shares are sold to the public on the stock market. People who own shares are called shareholders. They become part owners of the business and have a voice in how it operates. A chief executive officer, otherwise known as a CEO, and board of directors manage and oversee the business activities. When a business sells shares on a stock market, this is known as floating on the stock exchange, a typical phrase you will hear in Wall Street. So, what are the advantages of being a PLC? Well, they include the business having the ability to raise additional finance through share capital. The shareholders have limited liability. Increased negotiation opportunities with suppliers in terms of prices because larger businesses can achieve economies of scale. Now, what are some of the disadvantages of a PLC? These include it being expensive to set up, requiring a minimum setup cost of £50,000. There are more complex accounting and reporting requirements. There is a greater risk of a hostile takeover by a rival company, as the company cannot control who buys its shares. Shareholders will expect to receive a percentage of the profits as dividends, and shareholders may clash when making decisions about the business. Now, finally, we'd come to our not-for-profit organizations. A not-for-profit organization is a business that aims to do something other than to make profit for the owners, such as providing a public service or helping people. It needs to make enough money to cover its costs, but any surplus is reinvested into the business or used in other ways. One example of a type of not-for-profit organization is a charity. Charities are businesses whose aim is to raise money for good causes or to help people, animals, and the environment. Businesses with charitable status are funded mainly by donations. They get some tax relief, and they are eligible for certain types of grants from the government. Another type of not-for-profit organization is a social enterprise, whose aim is to help society. Social enterprises make money by selling products or services like a traditional for-profit business, but they use their profits to benefit society. Some examples of social enterprises include businesses such as the Eden Project, the National Trust, the Big Issue, and Divine Chocolate. And with that being said, guys, that has come to the end of today's lesson of the different types of businesses. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section and I will reply to them as they are left. Thank you so much for watching today's lesson. Please do subscribe to the channel for all things business studies, GCSE and A-level. We are currently working through the AQA curriculum, but we will be moving on to other curriculums as we finish this one. But this one will take some time, of course, because each curriculum is quite large. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching Business 101, and we will see you in the next lesson. Goodbye.